think you take the Ahri here and make sure that you're in a good spot. And then you're kind of going to see what the plan is here for JDG. I could almost see Kanavi just going straight for a Poppy pick here with the Ahri locked in. Having that Poppy is just fantastic, makes things a hell of a lot easier. And then you can try and counter the mid matchup as well, as it looks like Yagao just hovering through a few champions to see exactly what he wants to go with. Silas is up and available if he wants to try and go for it, but Yagao has always kind of been more of a control mage player.
Maybe more about getting hope on something strong yet again. I mean, this Aphelios did so well within the lane.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of showing up in multiple regions right now as first pick or ban when Zeri, Kalista are taken off the board. So we get that strong AD. We get a run back here from Yagao with his Taliyah, even though Dagda, it is going to be a different matchup for him with Icon. Now on something that we think might be a bit more credible within the current meta.
Yeah, and I actually like Icon playing Ahri. I think it suits his style a lot more, where he wants to push and roam. And Ahri can definitely try and do that in this lane. So they'll have to see if they're going to be able to play down towards Ryze a little bit better this time, because Ryze is saying, hey, look, I just messed up last time. We can win this matchup this time around. And with the Yuumi there, do we get the Ashe support? Are we going to get it? We saw it already coming through from Ming.
Yeah, and we've seen it. I cast it yesterday in the PCS as well. And it's been seen there a little bit more with the Halo Blades. A lot of fun to watch, but just missing do the run back as well. Yet we get the exact same draft from JDG as we got in game 1 so far.
Yeah, Chris, we're not going to get the Seraphine though. Their BLG are going to go for this Yuumi. So we'll get a little bit more of a shield and can try and poke back a little bit easier. But I think more so was just how good Hope and Missing were at landing their poke against the short range Sivir. And that was kind of what we talked about. Like the Sivir has only 500 range, so the fact that you get like the early Calibrum coming through from the Aphelios means he can poke out this Sivir pretty heavily in the first few levels. And if JDG are able to just continue through that again, I don't see it being too much of a problem for the bot lane.
So let's talk a little bit about the bans coming through though, because we are transitioning towards these solo lanes. Same bans from JDG again. It was a Fiora last game. The Jax was picked up by Bin, remember, so they started targeting out his pool. But this time with JDG on the red side, Dagda, they had the choice of getting this counterpick for top side or even counterpick for Kanavi at this point with minimal junglers taken so far.
Yeah, but Jax is going to be banned away. I thought we might see the Gangplank ban, honestly, coming through here. But with Sejuani, maybe JDG are just willing to take the Gangplank blind here for 369 and leave Kanavi with that counterpick in the jungle, because we've seen it once or twice from JDG where they actually prefer getting that counterpick for Kanavi because of how much he can do when he knows what matchup he's into.
Okay, so now we're just looking around junglers for the time being. Viego is something a lot of people have moved away from. Kanavi played one hell of a Xin Zhao game as we get the Vi as the final ban from BLG, meaning that they're going to try and target some of this engaged Dagda, but for JDG, I guess Kanavi wants to play, and Viego is still his most successful champion, but let's just remember that your brain has no limits. There's no smoothness whatsoever. The wrinkle on your left, oh God, I don't know any part of the brain.
Lobe?
Atrium is hard. Left.
Lobe.
Left lobe Dagda has just told us what we were going to see about 3 picks ago. So well done on the Poppy here. Kanavi setting up for what we know is a favorite pick of junglers everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the Poppy is just incredibly strong. I mean, even Tarzan was saying this is probably the strongest early game pick at the moment when it comes towards that jungle role. We're talking about the Gangplank though being picked up by JDG, but they are actually going to leave it over to the hands of Bin, and I like this. I think when you're looking at Taliyah, the Aphelios, even the Poppy, you don't have a huge amount of good engage and a great amount of disengage, some disengage, but I definitely think for JDG, like, Gangplank should have a great time here in trying to solidify control of the team fight with his ultimate. And even then, you have a ton of short-range characters that are going to be running directly into his barrels. So your happy days here has been if you can get that.
But on JDG's side, at the very least, I want to talk about some of their, newly built engage options, because 369 feels like he's decided to facilitate that, right? We saw before the potential the GP were talking about, but as it was left through in favor of Kanavi getting this Poppy, we now have ourselves some very explosive ultis, Dagda. Greater disengage, I'll say, from JDG to kick us off.
Yeah, a lot of disengage from JDG, and not the most guaranteed of engage tools, right? You're kind of relying on Kanavi getting a good flank or a flash position, 369 as well, flash body slam, or getting a good cast off to try and start off these fights. But that can be relatively tough, especially as like Sivir has her spell shield, Ahri's got good disengage with her ultimate. It kind of makes things a little bit more difficult for JDG to find good fights, but if they are able to find them, they're going to be pretty devastating, especially with the composition that they have. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried for JDG just about how they can try and start fights off. They'll probably end up leaning more on like things like skirmishes and this kind of stuff in the early stages, so they can build up this lead, look to try and use Taliyah on a side lane and use her weavers well then to try and corral people into fights, so then they just don't have any escape paths.
I mean, it can also go horribly wrong. That can be really messy because when we do get into some of these fights, or if they are like the TP play with the Weaver's Wall, along the lines of what you're mentioning, you know, for 369, barrel out of seismic shove, poppy out of seismic shove, or, you know, vice versa, where it ruins a poppy play. Hang on, wait. Game 1, we didn't see this. Game 2, what is going on? Oh, what land are we in? Okay.
It's the esports manager. It's the new game.
Oh, cool.
Game that we're in.
What? We didn't even get that in game 1. For some reason, game 2, they're like, oh, let's just sprinkle it back in. Dagda, I saw your card. What was your power level? Was it over 9,000 or something like that?
I was an SSO rank, so I don't know.
Oh.
I think I'm like the second highest rank, because I've seen like some of the guys like Scout, and these guys are all like SSSO, and they got a nice like diamond sheen to it. Yeah.
Is that like super summoner's rift? You know, like
I feel like the number of S's you just randomly add makes you stronger, and I'm not really sure how they started, but I've seen it in like gacha games, which are just like, oh yeah, the more S's, the more powerful this is, or at least that's what that advertisement that pops up on my YouTube every time says.
Oh yeah, something like I can't even remember the name. I think Atlas plays it. You know, Atlas plays it on stream.
He's mad for a bit of Genshin Impact.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. To be fair, I feel like I grind a couple of hours of that myself, but you know, gotta go back to Maple Story when you can. Anyway, competitors out of the way. This is League of Legends, and all I can say to you, Dagda, is this time you sound to have a bit more confidence in BLG's draft. It's 369 going for a cheeky invade himself. This is bringing back some shy stuff. He started body slam, just wants to be a nuisance. And look, Bin has to join in. He's like, where is this Gragas going?
Yeah, I mean, 369, though, should lose out on the first few creeps here, so not entirely sure how worth it will be. Yeah, he should at least get 2 of them, I think, just off the back of that from the experience. But, yeah, I mean, 369 just being a nuisance, trying to put Khan behind a little bit, but we'll end up just giving him a little bit of a hand when it goes towards the body slam of the clear, so moving back away won't be too much of an issue. And interesting to see 369 go for the Arcane Comet in this matchup. It does make sense when a lot of what Bin is going to try and do is poke you down, but with the body slam, getting a little bit of damage off early.
Kanavi spotted out mid though. He crosses now as Icon is going to throw some thumbs in the air. But Yagao getting some really good trades across here with the threaded volley. And you know what? We're talking about topside with no CS to start off. Once again, we're looking at bot. I mean, Rise and Crisp not having a great time. Exhausted in response, but they're at half HP. He's missing, stands in front, drops the Ignite. The Glitter Lance gets the slow as well. Hope is just hitting them as they run back, and Rise will be able to get healed up. But for JDG, once again, success is the story as Smite goes down. Kanavi gets it, and Khan wants to be cheeky this game, but Kanavi is going to press the denial button.
Yeah, Yagao is going to come across as well here. Got to be careful as Khan.
Flash is available for Kanavi too. Remember that flash against the wall with a heroic shove is perfect, and perfect once again. Khan might have to burn the flash if Yagao comes in and commit the summoner. As Hammer Shock gets a slow down, and Yagao walks in but is out of distance. So Blood is trying to be brewed in the bottom lane, Dagda, as BLG this time actually seemed to be favored with the bigger health buff.
Yeah, surprised to see Icon actually cancel his recall. I was about to say, Icon, really nice opportunity to reset here. He's pushed in mid-wave. He'd get a free reset without having to burn his TP, but Kanavi and Khan still fighting. No spites available.
A Hammer Shock miss. Kanavi wants this scuttle for his life, and hang on, auto. Oh my god, Khan got it. Khan got it in the end. Okay, well, we play the do-si-do. That's fun. That's fun, Dagda. We don't get too much fun in the jungle that early on without kills, you know?
I just know Smite made that so much more intense. I was ready for it. But I gotta say, like, I think BLG there threw away some of the advantages they had. Icon not resetting. Khan does get the scuttle, which is nice, but you'd already missed out on a wave as Yagao. Now Icon will have to actually burn his TP to get it back into place, but look at Yagao. Yagao now gets a good reset off without having to use his own TP because Icon's just out of mana. So the mid lane going to be slightly in favor of Icon because of the wave he's picked up, but I think he could have forced a much larger advantage if he'd actually gone for the quicker reset early.
That's a good point. I mean, as he comes on to the bottom lane, doesn't get much
Oh
time.
my god.
Hope wants to go in and rise. I mean, Missing doesn't have the ignite. He has a flash himself. Hope, what were you trying to achieve there? As Rise will survive, and now Missing and Hope have to pack away because Khan is ready to dive this.
Yeah, I mean, Poppy's on top side as well. Blue buff is still there for Khan, so he gets to stick around. Hope, way over aggressive. I'm not sure if he thought maybe Rise had burnt the heal, but it was just a Yuumi heal or something. But that was really strange. Oh, wait, I don't think they realized that Khan is still bot side. Do they cancel the resets on
Missing did.
Rise? No.
Missing is staying in lane. He's going to catch the wave. Khan not having the ulti available, maybe not going to risk it, especially with Hope not being there, so hang on a minute. Khan has a Gromp, so he will spend some time here, Dagda, but that's given Kanavi the time to move down himself.
Yeah, you got to be so careful as Khan. We'll need to smite this and immediately run out of here because Hope can just move over, but yeah, nice job by Khan there to actually move away from that on the bottom side.
We're just stuck looking at top lane. Forget that. We don't need to look at the little map movements now. Kanavi's going to pick another lane, though. That flash still available as Icon without his ulti to give him a bit of mobility. And now against the wall as he just turned 6. Spirit Rush will be available, but as Icon burns the first one, he almost goes down and ends up being meat here for Yagao. So nice trade here for Kanavi. Takes the summoner out of the mid lane. Excuse me, the ultimate Dagda with about a minute going before this Herald comes up. 2 minutes, in fact, if my brain could work for once. What is support combat here?
I mean, Crisp and Miss and just trying to go bop each other back and forth, but I don't actually gonna fight over the Wait,
okay.
Misty's winning! Get him, Misty! Get him!
It's not fair. It's not fair. Rise is coming back in. Oh god, gotta hate Yuumi. I remember in the LEC Dagda, what was it, 13 pros voted for Yuumi to be, removed. I wonder why. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan, but to be fair, not the only one in the community who says so. But hey, at the very least, with all that support or combat, maybe it gives an edge to JDG as they start the drag.
I mean, Hope and Missing having control over the spot side means they can move over. Yagao as well having good control over mid means he's fine. So all in all, at least JDG managing to get this first objective, but we are seeing kind of a bit of a role reversal from what we saw in the last game. Icon having a ton of CS in that mid lane. A nice little nearly 20 CS lead open up for him. Same when you look at the bot side, Rise and Crisp have been doing a much better job this time around. So that's why we're seeing, even with the top side advantage and the jungle, BLG have about a 1,500 gold lead for themselves.
It's huge. I mean, huge without kills. And again, as you were saying, you know, the dragon goes down, but I think we need to focus attention on the Rift Herald because that level 6 is hit for pretty crucial members. Rise is going to be getting close with On the Hunt coming available. Khan will have himself the Heartbreaker too. And for BLG, with that gold advantage, I kind of want to see Dagda if we get any strong components that lead them to a strength in front of this fight. As Yagao now in a bit of a dull place, Khan will force his flash, and right before the Herald spawns, BLG getting a lot.
Yeah, and the big thing is that BLG already have advantages, right? Kanavi, because he's missed out on his bot side camp, so Khan stealing won't hit 6. Hope, well, I was going to say was a little bit behind because he missed out on the experience from that initial wave, but it looks like just with Rise out of mana, should hit 6 just off of this wave here, so should be totally fine. Missing is going to be slightly behind, and you've got Icon level 7 versus the level 6 for Yagao as well, so you've got a lot of just small advantages for BLG. But Bin,
yeah, flash, body slam, explosive customing. Kanavi comes in for the heroic charge, but with a knock into the wall, 369's almost dying. Bin's already burned the summoner, and Kanavi's run out of mana. In a 1v2, he stands strong, and the summoner trade is in advantage of BLG as well, with Herald going down on top of that.
The heroic charge didn't really do particularly much there for Kanavi, as Icon looking for Yagao but won't catch him. The fact that he pushed him away from the wall meant that Bin was able to just flash completely to safety. So Khan now gets the Rift Herald without a contestation, and this is where we're seeing BLG starting to get control. And for JDG, we always say they're a team that likes to go to 3. This could be BLG's time to pounce.
It's always something. Game 2, JDG, just apparently a different beast, and maybe not a great way. 369 used everything in the last fight, and can make sure that BLG's top laner can too. Dagda, Herald, you've got bone plating. Sorry, we've got. Oh my God, why are we not doing this? Why is this resolve tree getting me Dagda to take turrets down?
Demolish.
Overgrowth. Demolish. Jesus. I've been playing so much. I've been playing too much Ashe support, obviously. I need to walk away and get back to the top side. But yeah, that turret's going to get demolished, Dagda. Everything going well for BLG when game 1 was such a stomp. And as you said perfectly, the role reversal is very obvious in this game.
And it's been going great for BLG thus far. The only advantage that you really see for JDG is in Dragons, but I mean, you've got great late game scaling in the Gangplank and the Sivir for BLG, Viego as well. And look, some of this will be matched by things like the Aphelios, but I mean, overall, just the amount of raw damage that can come out from the BLG late game is kind of obscene, and it's a lot of AoE damage as well.
Oh yeah, Viego, Sivir, GP is already seeing some of that damage. Explosive cast going to be used again. Bin doesn't have flash, but neither does Kanavi in 369 as Chilling Smite flies through the air. Bin is still trying to play his time. He doesn't have a cannon barrage, but Dagda, at least this time, JDG get the time to work with him and finally kill it.
What happens on the bottom side though? Khan is here. You've got Icon considering roaming down as well after pushing this wave. And you've got the Rift Tower in the back pocket, so it may not be this wave, but I definitely feel like BLG can continue to put pressure on this bottom side.
I mean, Khan's going to be taking away yet another blue buff. Icon is shoving Yagao's back into a wall. Speaking of which, hasn't had a chance to use that wall this game, so Icon has just been poorly focused in that mid lane fight. So, Dagda, I'll get words in a second. 45 seconds till Ocean, because for JDG, they picked up the first one, but with how the game's going, let's be real, it still feels very BLG favored for this next objective with the lanes and how they are too.
Look, Hysterics. Words are overrated. All you need to know is big bug, smash head, mid tower, they take dragon. That's okay. It. That's all we need, okay? This is what I want to see from BLG.
Well, shouldn't be too hard. Depends on Khan though, because as he gets caught out here by Kanavi, tries to set up for the stun, flashes from the seismic shove. Can goes in by himself, and with 15 seconds until the dragon, his flash not being available as a Viego may cost him a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of a late reset's coming through from BLG as well. Rise and Crisp, like, they're only just coming back in here, so it means that, in theory, JDG, with Hope having push in bot, can start to move across, but you're at a very big disadvantage when it comes towards items because Hope hasn't reset, so it means that BLG, if they actually end up in a 5v5 fight, should have the advantage, and it looks like JDG are aware of that. They're just trying to play defense right now.
Kanavi has his ult up again in 10 seconds too. Against the Herald, will it be there? Good seismic shove. Herald gets frozen in place. Wait, Herald, wake up. Okay. There we go. Kanavi's ultimate's almost available, but not in the nick of time, so Herald gets the gold. I don't know, Shelly causes a lot of bugs, Dagda, and I don't know if that was one of them, but it took a little bit longer than it should. However, maybe that's good for BLG because it gives them the time as Dragon has now spawned to line up with it.
BLG have gotten so much off this play though. You got plates mid, Rise got a plate bot, you're going to get Dragon as well, so really nice job by BLG to kind of orchestrate their map movements, even if Khan did get caught out a little bit earlier. So JDG kind of got to watch and wait here, as Dragon should go the way of BLG. I was like, Kanavi, I don't know if you really want to try and go for that, but they're all good.
Yeah, it doesn't use the ult in the end either, so BLG 2,000 gold ahead, 13 minutes into the game, JDG looking like this is going to continue with a very long laning phase. And Dagda, you know, you talked a little bit about what Yagao does to the map, a little bit about how 369 interweaves with it as well. From a gold discrepancy, what does that look like? How do you build a bridge to a mid game where, hang on a minute, speaking of bridges, Icon is going to have to take one to get over the wall. Flash is apparently a bridge now as Yagao looks at the seismic shove to force out the ulti. I still stand, Dagda. I still want to ask the question as to what JDG need to look for to kind of bring this game back into their favor.
I think their best bet is to try and start looking for picks, especially when you know BLG haven't exactly been the cleanest in setting up in the mid game around objectives. They tend to have people who go for late resets. We even saw Rise, like a couple of times Rise going for them in the last game. So I think if you can try and get established onto these objectives a little bit quicker than BLG, try and use that fact to like look for a quick pick here or there. Because I mean, 369 is decent pushing top. Yagao has been able to get some control over mid here and there. Like, use the fact you've got that Weaver's Wall to find an opportunity to get back in this game.
Yagao just needs to get out of lane for once. I mean, still stuck towards mid, and to be fair to him as well, BLG have had really good control wards, really good vision alongside the bottom river almost all game long. So Yagao's option bottom, silence for now. He's back in the mid lane, still trying to push this wave, and it's like, all right, let's hit the top side. But we still need to see Yagao make that move, as Hope is doing it with missing 2 Dagda. For the second Herald, JDG are committing a lot.
This is what we're talking about, though. Kind of foregoing bot side, looking instead to get established early on the objectives, as 369 and Bin will now get Yagao.
Okay, damage that means going to come through as Bin has to flash away from the seismic shove. So good attempt here from JDG, and with the top laner out of it, only the cannon barrage will be available for him. So second Herald for the cost of bottom lane turret, as BLG move in to try and persuade JDG to give them yet another outer turret, this time being the mid lane, for Icon to take by himself. I mean, Kanavi fighting over the scuttle, while Icon says thank you so much.
Yeah, JDG really needed to get that kill onto Bin in that top side. The fact that they didn't means that they're trading down massively on this play. Bot Terra goes down, mid Terra goes down, and 369 might fall as well.
Oktoberfest is apparently a good time, Dagda. However, there are points when it can go overboard and you're not in the right place at the right time. One keg too many here for 369, but looking for the solo kill while he now realizes he's in big trouble. That is not good, as I went to Germany a while ago, and obviously my German is also not good.
I mean, this is a disaster for JDG. I mean, look, you're German. I mean, you got the words there. Apparently, I think they're right. I could be wrong, but I think you're good. But
knock. I don't know. Speak enough German. I know eins, zwei, drei. He was rolling drei in that top lane matchup as Kanavi comes into the bottom side with a bit of support under his own. This is Ben who walked into this, by the way. With Ignite getting dropped down, they're using a lot, but his flash was burnt before. Operation Bully Bin, put a bin liner in it. Well, down he goes. Well done, Dagda.
Thank you. I just wanted to be a part of it.
Oh, Hope is going to die here, I think. Well, that ulti.
That was a vigil.
Also, Dagda, here comes 369. Now, Hope ults the wrong way as we look at this 2v2 in more perspective. Yagao's going to bring in the rest of the cavalry. Straight from 369 as Rise is now by himself. Look at this. JDG, a 5-man stack against the wall. He only just joined the LPL. Give him a break.
We're bringing it back for JDG, though. I mean, what was going absolutely disastrously with them losing all their outer towers, not really making plays. Suddenly JDG come alive. They get the pick on bot. They get 2 kills mid. Now they're getting control of the game back, and the gold lead starting to equal up a bit as well. This is what JDG needed to do to find moments to get back into this game.
They're good play, Dagda, as we look at the replay here. I realize it is niched good. Niched, I can't say it properly. But hey, for JDG, this turnaround again just seemed to be so swift despite the ulti from Hope.
Yeah, Hope doesn't get knocked by that anyway. He still comes back in here. Khan beautifully jumped on by 369. Yagao's waiting in the wings as well, so Rise just gets completely caught out as all 5 members show up in mid. Dragon is up though. BLG have control of the area, and it looks like, at least for the moment, JDG are like, look, we're not going to try and contest this. 369 has already moved top side. He's going to look for the top turret instead. And especially with where the waves are positioned, BLG will be able to get this uncontested.
And so, start the Dragon stacking now, and you already talked about what their late game involves. It feels like for BLG, still the cards in their favor, despite JDG having that one play mid that gave us a bit of hope again. But I feel like what's going to give us more hope, Dagda, is Yagao on this Taliyah now finally starting to move around the map. We talked about this at the start of the game. LPL Taliyahs, it ain't that early game. It's the mid game when all the lanes are broken that our players are really utilizing this pick.
Ooh, Icon.
Well, I was going to say, how does he utilize it here? Maybe he just comes and defends his territory. Missing gets the shutdown. Crisp is going to die too. And Icon going deep, Dagda. That's going to cost them.
Yeah. A curious one there from Con. As I said, wasn't able to get onto mid seed, and he's gone way too far to the enemy jungle. So now JDG posted up here in top side. This will give them top turret, gets them 2 kills as well. And that 2.5k gold lead now start to dwindle further and further. I mean, JDG, even with the positions they have, may be able to take... I know they won't be able to get mid lane turret with how far that wave is back, but I mean, this is still just sloppy errors from BLG that are costing them.
Dude, Missing is 3-0-1. Missing has the most kills on JDG's side. He now is a Chemtech Putrefier. Missing is, I would say, a very strong Lulu at this point, Dagda. And to be fair, this whole lane in the bottom side, however devastatingly it's gone against JDG, Missing has always been in charge as we look at this again. And it was the chase after Missing that Icon got baited in by. I mean, what a debate. Where is he? Oh, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, great flash from Missy there. Kanavi's got the steadfast presence, so he gets 1 bug, 2 bug. Then you end up with the seismic shove as well. It's the triple bonk Hysterics, and there's nothing Icon can do about it.
Imagine being Crisp. You're like, why did I come with you?
No,
why did I come
please
with you? Oh, as any good self-respecting support main, you know, you die with them. You live and die with the person you're attached on, as any Yuumi
He's a
player
victim.
will know.
He's a victim of Icon.
Right.
You know?
I mean, the true victims are the people that have to play with the Yuumis, Dagda. I'm sorry, but I stand by that statement.
I mean, that is very fair. Half of them I feel like as well are just like actual, like not even joking, like are just legitimately bots. The amount of times I've seen people who are just like, oh yeah, well,
dude,
all they have to do is shove out a Q every so often, they'll be fine.
I saw on the subredditors, I'm going to pause because Khan might be in a bit of trouble again. Kanavi, really good heroic charges. Keep this verdict. May have just judged Khan as guilty. As JDG again continue to harass BLG in these side lanes. And Dagda, I was going to say, like, the amount of, I don't know what I was going to say, actually, forget it. I can't remember what I said, 2 minutes ago. I'm out. I'm done,
Look,
Dagda.
this is an action-packed game. I don't blame you. JDG are picking up the pace. You got to make sure that you got your wits about you as Bin. Going to take this top lane turret as well as 369. We'll try and defend it, but there's a lot of JDG members trying to move up towards this top side.
Cannon Barrage is still available. Flash is there too. He wants to take the 1v1, but 369 ain't walking into that big barrage. Hope is walking up with the Gale Force to take the kill, and they'll give it over to him. The AD carry getting resources, and JDG are punishing BLG every single step. Dagda, I still can't remember what I wanted to say before, but I know what I want to say now. This game is looking dicey again, or at least again in the series, when BLG had the early game under their wing firmly.
And look, you still have really good late game scaling here on BLG's side, but again, we're seeing like Bin apparently doesn't really want to play with the team. Instead of going for like things like the Ravenous Hydra builds that we've seen, like maybe you want to go for like a Gangplank sword or anything like this, he's just going to go straight for the whole breaker. And this is kind of saying again that Bin just wants to be alone in the sideline against 369. Now, he still will be valuable in team fights, don't get me wrong, but you're not really seeing BLG itemize or play towards that team fight strength. So maybe they'll be a little bit lacking when they come into it, but JDG are just kind of still behind. Like, Hope only just finishing his second item, whereas you look across at Rise, he's halfway towards his IE, where he's really going to come online, because don't forget, like, his Q scales with Frit.
Oh, God, stop. I mean, Can walking into jungle. 369's MIA, explosive cask at least saves his life, but Can is showing us a lot here in the second game as 369 goes golden, but Icon's ready over the wall to finish him off. A good boomerang blade from Rise, but unfortunately still doesn't have the damage without that IE to be finished. So Dagda, bit of damage on 369, and he doesn't have TP right before the dragon spawns, which will be the third for BLG.
And that's Yuumi diff, because Khan ends up getting the healing coming through from the cast, whereas JDG have to send back Gragas. So they push in mid, now trying to get themselves in towards River, but JDG trying to kind of cut them off here before 369, or sorry, before Bin is able to come in, but Bin TP in bot side, he wants to try and be a part of this fight.
BLG, come on. You know, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of BLG showing us signs of brilliance like in this early game, and then giving us weak knees towards mid-game, Dagda. As they go to the Dragon, at least this time they'll have themselves a soul point ready and available in 5 minutes, but as JDG move up towards his top side, look at the lack of vision control. I mean, they're going for mid-push here on BLG, but Dagda, JDG trying to bait in the Baron, and there's not a ward to be seen.
Nice job by Bin, though. Cannon Barrage to just check the Baron. They see nobody's on it. So Khan, don't get caught!
No, he is though. Grabbing him with a Moonlight Vigil. Here's Yagao. Dodging away from the W is great, but as Icon jumps on in with great Everfrost, now needs to kite his way around as 369 TP's in. On top of Rise, this AD carry getting a taste of some pretty bad medicine right now as JDG don't lose a single member. The fight's going to lead them to chase down Icon on the bottom side, Dagda. And I feel like with Hope having Flash, a blast code as well. Kill Operation Icon. He'll survive, but Crisp is going to sacrifice his life to help him.
I mean, Crisp had to go down. You can't follow with the TP anymore, so the call was made. Crisp will fall and Icon will escape. But I don't understand why BLG got caught there. I mean, you got the Dragon. You knew that JDG were not on Baron because of Bin's ultimate, so you didn't need to face check it. And Calm getting caught there really causes issues, as now you're still waiting on Crisp to come up and Hope he's got red and white.
Yep, and Yagao makes a 5th member. Means everything's all right for BLG. This was your early game. And now with the perfect guns for Aphelios, JDG threatening the Baron as the turn from 369 comes first. But Khan is on the back of this wall at 5k, 4k. Kanavi charging up the hammer. Doesn't get the jungler. They're going to 50-50. This is missing. Goes down. Khan's in the pit and gets it. Yet again, another Baron still here for the newbie jungler while Rise starts cleaning house. However, the problem is that Sivir versus Aphelios still happens to be a Season 11 champion. On to Bin now. Hope in the middle of everyone. Chris can't face him, but Icon will do the job. Dagda is getting flashbacks to the war of Aphelios' release, but BLG still managed to get what they came for.
Hope had so many chakrams in that fight, but wasn't able to carry it across the finish line. But as you said, Khan, great positioning here. Doesn't have ult, so has to flash over. Manages to just about get the steal. Yeah, early smite coming through from Kanavi. And from that point, this is where it gets a bit dicey, because Hope's actually in a really good spot. Like, look at the amount of chakrams that he has around him here. So he is tearing through people every opportunity that he gets, but just not enough health bars on his teammates. And Hope ends up falling just after he gets pinned.
Okay, well, both AD carries step it up clutch. But BLG with the stolen Baron and the team fight, now back to a gold lead. We got 4k on the board right now, and Dagda, it's 2 minutes until Infernal. So at the very least, we can say that for BLG, maintaining an item difference between their counterparts, going to be such a positive when JDG inevitably have to force the fight for this upcoming soul so that BLG just don't send us to what could be a guaranteed game 3 afterwards.
I mean, you're still in a good spot. Here's BLG, although Khan just needs to be careful. I mean, as you say, like, you got a minute and a half until Dragon. You've got 3 items now on towards Rise, and having the extra agility cloak as well means that he's sitting about 95 crit. At 100% crit chance, Rise's Q is dealing 50% extra damage, so he's very close to getting that full amount of damage off on his Q. And this is where you start to get a lot of extra damage coming out in team fights, because every auto attack, thanks to your ult, is lowering the cooldown of your basic abilities. And this is where, with that extra Q damage, you become a menace as Sivir, not including just the fact that your boomerang blade is bouncing around as Yagao when he gets caught.
Yeah, Icon jumping in, feeling confident as ever. JDG sent the whole cavalry to try and stop this charge. As 369 deals with his own in the mid lane, Bin is just soloing out while Rise walks up to the turret alongside Crisp. And this Baron power play at 5k right now, considering we come the back end of that Baron fight. BLG trying to break the base here, Dagda, and doing so would put them in a great position for us to send them into a game 3.
I've seen now BLG can continue this one forward. Good control, but that's an engage.
By himself and against the wall, he's already used the orange. Cannon barrage in a great spot as Chris Salty is even better, proving himself and getting the other AD. Dagda might be 4 years after the music video, but he still rises with a double kill in his death. JDG hold on, a 2 for 2, but the 80 carrier BLG is showing us that new Sivir with a threshold.
Yeah, no jungler for JDG now means BLG should be able to get the Dragon as it spawns. TP coming in though.
Yagao wants the seismic shove. That's all he needs to find a help with a pick here, but Icon is out of his reach and Crisp is sitting on top of him. A Spirit Rush comes through yet again. Looking for Yagao, doesn't thread the needle. And Khan as well, finding himself a W in the wrong direction. JDG now with the Dragon spawning are going to try and zone off the rest of BLG. And BLG, Dagda, they have their jungler.
Yeah, they're just trying to wait here. JDG are trying to buy time, make sure BLG can't start up this Dragon before the rest of JDG can get there. TP from Bin into the bot side though.
Dagda, this is it. You know this is it, don't you? You can see the fight coming, you know, with Kanavi on the run. BLG are going to make the stand here and try and take us to a game 3. And Bin's angle here might give EU fans a bit of deja vu, as it's only 369 for now and Khan seems to be the target. But look at the shredding. Rise is doing so much damage to the front line as he runs forward along with Icon. Bin as well. And here comes the mid laner from BLG that we talk smack about. They find the fight, and JDG, just like a script, are going to go to game 3.
Late game Sivir, baby, coming in hot for Rise. He wasn't set behind this game and popping off in these fights. We should go to a game 3. I'm assuming we're going to game 3 as Kanavi's trying his best.
Yeah, we're going to get a TP in at the very least. Bin drops the Catabarrage, but Icon rejoins. Crisp is the one that's slow here, but it doesn't matter. In 29, almost 30 minutes, Kanavi on his last legs getting blown to pieces with BLG revitalizing the series and taking us to yet another game 3 against JDG. The surprise Pikachu Dagda, that's what's popping up in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, somehow, some way, JDG will always go to a game 3. That's just how this works, but yeah. Gotta say, much better game from BLG regardless. Good laning phase coming through for them. Icon looking far more comfortable in the Ahri. You got Rise, who was doing a good job in the lane as well, coming out with a 10 to 20 CS lead. Been commanding that top lane against 369. And even you could see Khan running amok against Kanavi, like consistently getting into his bot side jungle, taking away a bunch of these camps, leaning into that advantages that they got in the early game. Then they could just powerhouse their way into the late portion of the game. It was a little bit messy, as we always say with the mid game for BLG, but just being able to rely on that late game scaling from the Sivir and also from Bin was just too much for the JDG squad.
Oh god, it was. I feel like all I can say about this one, Dagda, is, you know, Rise this time actually gets to play his lane. Rise got to play his Sivir lane and this time wasn't bullied out by, well, you know, the same lane that we got in game number 1. And Kanavi didn't get to have his freedom of the jungle like he did in game number 1. And this Poppy pick was something that we really highlighted, but it feels like it was only in the mid game where JDG came alive. And by then, BLG were already in a comfortable enough position where JDG weren't given the picks they needed in front of objectives or in the right times, I guess, if that makes sense.
And that's where, like, a lot of the issues we described in Champ Select kind of came back to bite JDG. Like, not having an easy definitive engage tool made it a little bit more difficult for them when it got towards team fights, because they're not really able to find those quick picks that they wanted as easily at neutrals. You could see that it was pretty easy for Rise to just deal out a ton of damage, like 25,000 damage for Rise in these fights, because he's just sitting in the backline free hitting this whole time. Like, this is what Sivir is made for, where she's just untouched despite the short range.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, 35% damage, as you said. Massive performance here from the new AD carry, and it sucks because I don't feel like Doggo was the problem on this roster, Dagda. I think a lot of us kind of agree that, you know, it stems from a much larger issue. But Rise is getting his chance to showcase in a league where he probably